My gender wasn't policed as much as my sexual orientation. So the idea was you can be a little bit different as long as you get married. So. Hi everyone, my name is Alok, as in Tell Me a Joke, Alok. I'm a gender non-conforming performance artist. I believe that the history of trans and queer people is that we made contemporary fashion. It's just that you saw our accessories and our dresses, but you didn't see us. For me, it's really important to make fashion as a trans person because I often have to fit into clothes that were meant for women and clothes that were meant for men, but never clothes that are meant for me. Growing up, I wanted to be my sister. I have an older sister, Elka. She's 3.5 years older than me. And basically, I made my parents buy 2 of everything they bought her. My parents were actually totally down. I mean, growing up, I used to literally wear my mom's chunnis and dance to Bollywood songs for the local Indian community. I think everyone in the LGBT community in the US wants to hear a story about how my family and my culture is backwards. But they don't actually want to hear the story of my aunties giving me bangles. They don't want to hear the stories of my mother taking me shopping when I was like 4 or 5. I think it was like my 1st grade talent show. I danced to the Bollywood song, I Love My India, like an interpretive dance at my elementary school, and everyone laughed at me. And I remember just being like, why are they laughing at me? Like, I'm just getting my life. And I went home and I just remember being like, oh wait, this thing that gives me so much joy, other people aren't okay with. And I tell that story because I think a lot of people have stereotypes that Indian communities and immigrants are more conservative, but that actually wasn't my case. There were so many moments where I actually felt like I got more acceptance from the Indian community than I ever did from white people, right? And so I think you don't hear those stories unless we're telling them ourselves. And that's why I think in a lot of my work, I'm trying to say, queer and trans people need to not just be in front of the camera, but we need to be behind it. We need to be scripting it. We need to be at all levels producing our own narrative. I just feel like dividing billions of people into 1 of 2 categories is one of the most foolish things that's ever happened. People think that I'm failing to be a man, I'm too feminine to be a man, or that I'm failing to be a woman because I'm too masculine to be a woman. But what I offer is perhaps I'm not failing, perhaps I'm succeeding at transcending the binary. I remember growing up, people would always be like, you're such a girl. And then when I said I'm trans, they're like, but you're a boy. It's this weird paradox where like my entire life when I was a little kid, people would tease me for being girly or feminine or gay or a fag or whatever. And then when I finally like on my own terms, like, hey, actually I'm trans, then it's no, but you're a man. When I was in elementary school, I would literally wear socks to my knees with like dolphin like sandals. I remember like in 2nd grade, they'd be like dress up for photo shoot day or like for school photos. I was like, I'm dressed up every day. Like, are you kidding me? There's not a single day that I walk around the streets in New York City where I don't have people insulting me, telling me to die, spitting on me. And that's just the everyday reality for someone like me. And that's why there are very few gender non-conforming people who are visible, because harassment means that it's easier for us to disappear ourselves than to exist in our truth. And so for me, what I try to tell cis women and what I try to tell the feminist movement is that when you are fighting for gender non-conforming people, you're fighting for everyone. Because actually what we're experiencing is sexism in its worst form. What we're saying is I should be able to look like however I want, and people should still leave me alone and respect my personhood. We shouldn't have to be beautiful, especially when that's other people's expectations of what beauty is. We shouldn't have to be normal. We should just be able to have to be ourselves and not be afraid of violence. I never thought I would live. I attempted suicide when I was young. 63% of trans Asian Americans have attempted. It's the highest rate of suicide attempt in the country. Because when you're told that you don't exist, at some level you internalize that. For me, it's about showing the world that it's possible to be both South Asian and queer and trans and gender non-conforming and non-binary and all of these things that our culture dismisses as weak and ridiculous and Western and white and wrong, and to be able to hold all of that and smile back at it. I think living tinted for me is constantly getting my own life, giving birth to my own life, making my own beauty, making my own norms, making my own joy, making my own art. Every day is a process of self-creation and showing the world what's possible.